Hello dear readers, here we are yet again with Tidbit Tuesday, our last special Tidbit Tuesday for the month of June. Yeah, it is June. With our final question drawn from the Q&A on Goodreads.com. It'll still be going through the 30th, but this is our last Tidbit Tuesday where we'll be drawing a question and answering it. This one is from James D. And his question was, why can't Zorastres remember any of his spells? If he's such a wizard, why can't he remember them? Well, the answer is he's a wizard. Wizards are people that are not naturally adept to magic. They don't have it naturally in their blood like a sorcerer or a natural element like earth folk or a witch. So they have to study magic. They have to memorize every phrase, every syllable, every word, every gesture, everything in order to make the spell work. Or kind of save up spells in rods or staves or staves or whatever implement they decide to use. And it kind of stores the spell and they can use it. Zorastres, because he's an evoker, which is someone that invokes an elemental being or a god or a spirit into the spell to make something happen, naturally wrote everything down. He's got them, well, had them in a book, spell book, to be able to use at will. He can memorize spells, but he needs to study them beforehand and memorize them for however long, perhaps before a battle or whatever, or read it directly from his spell book. He has been known to occasionally remember bits and pieces of spells or random spells, usually when least expected and usually when they're not particularly useful. But that's just because that's his luck. But that is why Zorastres can't really remember them. They are so in-depth, they are so detailed that it's not possible to study them and 5 years later, 10 years later, 50, 100 years later, remember it and be able to remember every innuendo, every syllable, and cast a spell and fireball your enemy. So without his spell book, Zorastres is kind of handicapped because he doesn't have his point of reference to memorize the spells before going into battle or before a situation where he thinks he might need it, or have it on his person to cast directly from it. So I hope I've answered your question, James, and I hope it was a little bit informative for the rest of you, dear readers. A little bit on the update front, I have been working very hard on Witch Hunter and the Fight Slaves Prize. They're coming along rather nicely. I think I've accomplished quite a lot over the last week. I've developed the characters a little bit more. I've come up with a few new races and new people to meet and torture. The plots haven't fully ironed out yet because each book is still just getting its foothold and getting going, but I've been enjoying writing them, and hopefully that rhythm and speed will continue, and hopefully that means very soon you'll have yet another book on the way. Beta readers still have Rahasia, book 3, in their hands, and are catching all the mistakes and everything that I've missed. So hopefully pretty soon I'll be getting them back and doing the last step of editing and finishing it off, and hopefully by then I'll have a release date for everyone, be able to tell you exactly when Rahasia is going to be coming out. It will be this year, I just don't have the official date yet. As I said, there's still 3 more days, 3 more days if you include today, to continue to ask your questions on Goodreads.com, the Q&A. Feel free. I will look forward to answering them, and I will see you next week.